What's hacking? It's Quacking, and welcome back to the episode of Talking About Games. This time, we are talking about some pickups I got here at the early of this year so far, and really it still is in a sense. I went to a couple of swap meets, went to some game stores, got some stuff that I've been looking for a little while, just found some stuff with some good deals overall, maybe some series we want to get into. Really, we've got a lot of stuff here to unpack, so I hope you all look forwards to what we have in store. Now, where do I want to start here? Well, I guess we'll start with this swap meet I went to. So I went to a swap meet, and there's this guy who usually has a bunch of games. This time he had no games at all, which was a little surprising. He said I'll have some stuff next time, but I did get this really cool Nintendo Power guide right here. I don't have a ton of Nintendo Power stuff. I only have a couple of things. I got into it a bit later on. But I got this for a couple of bucks. This isn't bad. He was saying it wasn't in the greatest condition, and you know what? I at first I was like, yeah, I don't really agree with that. Yeah, I can see like the bounding right here is coming apart, and it's, you know, it's not, at least it doesn't seem like it's water damage, so that's in the bright side, but it definitely looks like this has been worn. This has been going through a couple of bins potentially. There's a bit of wearing on the side here too. I guess this goes for a decent amount of money online. Didn't really see if it was like damaged or not, but you know, overall, it seems like I got a pretty good deal. And, you know, I like collecting Nintendo Power guidebooks. You know, really, guidebooks, I can't really think of the last time I got one of these. Might have been like 2012, something like that. I think that might have been like the last time I actually got like a guidebook like this. And this is from like, you know, 2000, either 2001. Well, this game came out in 2000, so I would imagine it would have been 2001. I noticed it says $15 on here, this retail, so it would have been brand new, but you know, a couple of bucks, I think honestly you can't complain for that. And he had like a Dragon Ball thing matched with as well. I was like, I'm not really a Dragon Ball fan, you know, maybe more so like One Piece or JoJo or I don't know, Dorohedoro, you know, that kind of anime, but you know, I'm pretty happy I got with that. There's some other stuff I got at the swap meet as well. I was gonna start with this, but I honestly forgot. So I got a couple of Atari games for pretty cheap. This is Super Breakout. Funny enough, I honestly forgot I got this, and Andrew from the Game Display was just showing a video from his, the name's failing me, I'll have to put a freaking note on screen, from, you know, his, I want to say Magnavision, but I know it's like the one of the first, or the first handheld game consoles that were showing off Breakout. I honestly, you know, this might be probably going to be running joke for me, but I love to get myself finally Alleyway on the Game Boy. I just think something about it is just amazing how they somehow put Mario in there and you're in space breaking blocks. But yeah, I think I got that for like a buck. I guess she says, yeah, $1 right there. I got Skiing right here. I have not tested any of these games out, except for some of the stuff later on, because I don't really have a good Atari setup. It's kind of harder to get something, you know, considering how you're dealing with what the heck, RF, I believe it is, for the Atari, but I know my dad had it, and these are probably going to be gifts for him right here. And I got Stampede for a couple bucks. I don't think I checked this one out. I know I definitely got some money worth. I should say as well, I'm not a reseller whatsoever, I just like to collect things. I like to know if I get a good deal or not. But this did come with the instruction manual, which is nice. No boxes for these, but I got mostly loose Atari games right here, so pretty happy about that. And then some other stuff I got from the swap meet as well. This is probably the more interesting stuff is. So I got Devil May Cry 3 for a couple of bucks. The disc didn't look in great condition. I tried asking the guy for some money off because, you know, I wasn't really sure if it was going to work or not. And he was like, well, you can clean it. I have never had good experience with cleaning discs. I don't know about anyone else, especially with GameCube discs considering how small they are. And it seems like it's really hard to find someone who actually can clean those. But on the bright side, it is complete in box. This seems like it's a more common PlayStation game. I would imagine it would have been like greatest hits. It would have made a greatest hits of this. But, you know, I'm okay with that, I suppose. But, you know, I was glad it was complete in box. I think I saved a couple of bucks doing it this way, but I'm not really a huge Devil May Cry person. I've only played Devil May Cry 5. I only really booted this up to make sure that it worked. I should play more of it to see if the scratches really impacted, but I suppose I'll find out in the long run. I think Devil May Cry 3 might be the first one that is either canon or one of the first good ones, I guess I'll say. Because I guess I understand Devil May Cry 1 and 2 they're okay, but they're not exactly setting the world on fire. I myself not played them, but I'm pretty happy to give Devil May Cry 3. Now, the game I did actually play, because I was really interested in this, I know there's a new entry that came out. Armored Core 2. Now, the Armored Core series, I think this is from From Software. I always think it's interesting. They kind of remind me of the people who made Dark Souls. I'm probably going to say that, realize, oh, they probably are, but no, I don't know. This seems like a pretty, I would say it's like a generic mech fighter in a sense. And it kind of reminds me of this game I've wanted to play for a little while. It's a complete meme game, Metal Wolf Chaos. But Armored Core 2 overall seems pretty interesting, I have to say. I played it for a little over an hour. It does not use the analog stick, because I guess this is supposed to be on the PS1 originally, but it came out on the PS2. I guess the PS1 original game is really expensive, the first one. This one, I think this is the most savings, that or this book. I'm going to say this game probably because this book is hard to say because there's damage, but I got this for a couple of bucks as well. This one looked less damaged. Not complete in box, though. Not complete in box, so that's unfortunate. In fact, I think this is probably not even the real PS2 case. I notice that happens with a lot of PS2 games. So really, I'm just considering I got that loose there. The case, you can just go out and get any old case. But I don't know, that's not even the official case. Devil May Cry 3 one was official. But, yeah, I think it was pretty interesting. I played a bit of it. It uses the D-pad, which my PS2 controller D-pad, even though it's it was a brand new controller when I got it. Not great at all. The analog sticks, I wish it did work, but once again, it's because it was an early PS1 game. They didn't initiate that. Now, something else I did get then as well, the last game I got, which also was about the same price, was Q*bert for the PlayStation. Now, the PlayStation has some very interesting stuff that I didn't even realize was on here. I didn't even know this was a game when I saw it. This is actually the game I saw on top when I was looking for some games. It's kind of a bust. I just got some Atari stuff, this book. Nothing really setting the world on fire here. But then when I went there again, I saw this at a box with a really cranky old guy with the Devil May Cry Armored Core. I saw this on top, just glimmering, and I'm like, that's an original PlayStation game. I don't really have a lot of original PlayStation stuff. The OG PS1 is kind of nostalgic for me because I remember playing, I think it was Road Rash and then some boat game where I was jumping over some stuff. Kind of nostalgic for that. I remember when one of my family members was being born. I remember playing no longer now my uncle's PS1, and my aunt brought it up from the basement. And it was funny because I remember Road Rash. I think that was the game where they're just punching people off. I think it was either rated M or T. You're just kind of just going like this, punching people off a bike constantly. Then either you fall off or they fall off. I'm pretty sure that was Road Rash in the PS1. Could be wrong about that though. The graphics kind of felt like it might have been different, but it was funny because my aunt allowed me to play that game. Then when I was playing this hunting trials game, which is killing animals, my aunt was like, "Did your parents allow you to play that game?" And yet, they're allowing me to play this game where they're just beating people senselessly off of a motorcycle. I remember that was kind of the first time I was experienced with violence. I was like 5 or 6 years old in video games where I have to play an M-rated game. I don't know. People are. I don't know. Parents are, especially adults, are kind of strange. Same thing happened with my aunt where I was trying to play an M-rated Marvel game or something. And they're just or T-rated. They're like, "You can't play that game. That's too much for you." And they put in some party game, and it didn't even boot up on the Xbox 360. But going off massive tangent. Anyways, in the PlayStation, I've been trying to get more of this because I don't really have a lot of original PlayStation games. I think I have Nitrous Oxide, a obscure arcade game, and then I have Final Fantasy, the collection that has Chrono Trigger and Final Fantasy 4. I think that's Final Fantasy Anthology or Collection or something like that. There's a bunch of weird collections on the PS1. I got that because Square reprinted that, but I know those aren't the greatest support due to the load time and stuff. I want to get more PlayStation games. I know the PlayStation is very obscure revival series, for example, Frogger is on there. And now we also have Q*bert as well. The PS1 was certainly home to a lot of revivals of just older arcade classics and try to be in a more modern feel at the time. I played this for a bit. It certainly is trippy, especially the intro. I have to say, the intro is a trip. Wow, it's something else, I gotta say. This one, of course, is completed boxes. I'm pretty sure how PS1 games work is the manual is supposed to be the slip cover. Yeah, it looks like because it's moving there. The disc, I think this one looked almost immaculate. Someone really didn't play this game. Q*bert's kind of special to me because I remember my dad played it on the Atari. That was one of the first games I was most interested in. Because I think, because of Wreck-It Ralph, my dad showed me that, or we saw that movie and we saw Q*bert in there when it first came out. And he's like, "Oh, I remember playing that back in the day in the arcade on my Atari," and we tried to boot it up, and and we were able to play it, and it was pretty interesting, I have to say. But yeah, so then finally I went to a game store, and this stuff was a little more expensive, about like, you know, I guess like in the tens kind of range. But anyways, the whole reason I went to this game store is because I wanted to get this game right here, Pac-Man Fever. This also is, yeah, this isn't even the official PS2 case, but it's also damaged, so that's lovely. Got this for a couple of bucks. I traded in some stuff that I didn't really care for that I got from swap meets. I don't like to use swap meet stuff to get money. I like to use it to get other games usually. And I got this because I wanted to get this as a meme, and this isn't even like a great game. I played this with a friend a long time ago, and he introduced it to me, and I was like, that's interesting. Mario Party for the PS2 or GameCube with Pac-Man. Really, I think Pac-Man Party is much better on the Wii, as much as it might get memed. I think that's a really good game. This game, however, is like the early take of that, and yeah, it's not great. I wanted to try to play it with some friends at a hotel, but yeah, I did the mistake of not bringing my own display system. I brought my laptop, but I forgot my capture card to use that as a small display, and then also I forgot my projector, and then the frickin' TV had like this like tamper protection thing in there, which is stupid to prevent you from doing that. So yeah, the TV was also extremely laggy there as well. So I gotta love how just crappy TVs are, and a friend was kind of criticizing me, saying like, why don't you have a TV? Why do you have a projector? Because there's frickin' ads in most TVs, and they're just awful, and they're really cheap, and yeah, it's hard to find anything. You know, technology is getting worse and worse. I had a bit of a tangent there on Andrew's stream briefly the other day on the game display. Speaking of that as well, we're transitioning perfectly into this on top. Metal Gear. Now, I know there's a lot of mixed things with this, such as like I Feel Asleep, you know, the classic line right there and whatnot. I know there's a collection that came out recently, but I wanted to get a physical copy of Metal Gear, and I really wanted to get Snake's Revenge. That was one of my games I was trying to find at conventions. Still on the lookout for that for a decent price. Haven't even found it at all. But as soon as I saw this, I was like, you know what? I'm gonna go and pick this up. They had to buy like a certain amount, get one free at the thing. That's I figured. I saw Pac-Man Fever. I looked over the NES section because along with PlayStation games, I don't have a lot of NES games. Now I finally got the double digits of my NES collection. I believe the 10th NES game we're gonna come up on here soon that I got. Physical cartridges. I technically have 11 or 12 NES games because I have the Mario plus Duck Hunt one, but you know I can't consider that kind of combined because I'm talking about how many cartridges I have in general. But yeah, I like to try to play this someday. I need to test this out. I brought this to the hotels I went to stay with some friends. Fortunately, you know, because I didn't have any setups or anything, and we couldn't plug into the TV. Because of frickin' security ports, because you know, even though we were spending over like $700 in this frickin' hotel, well, thankfully I didn't pay for it. My friend did because he wanted us to come along. But yeah, we couldn't play that. So looking forward to playing this. Hoping to get Snake's Revenge. I know this isn't the greatest game, some people say, but I like to try it out, and I was really glad to be able to play this on Andrew's stream many months ago. No! What, was there more stupid holes? Wait, why is there a hole there? Hoping to do the same for Snake's Revenge. Anyways. So my 10th NES game, this is Jackal. This is another Konami game, funny enough, and I guess we're transitioning pretty well. We might transition pretty well soon, a little bit later. So this is kind of like a top-down shooter, almost kind of reminds you of Frontline, but you're in like the tank. I saw this on GameSack's channel a long time ago, and I guess for some reason people say I'm from GameSack or I'm affiliated with them, so I'm not. I would be cool to speak to Joe. I don't even know if he goes to conventions anymore, but yeah, Jackal's a pretty interesting Konami game that's very underrated. Got this for a couple of bucks, because I guess it's just very obscure and hidden gem. Surprised it hasn't really shot up in there in price. It's really stayed in that range for a long time. But yeah, I mean, I'd like to check this out. It seems pretty neat. It's kind of like more like an arcade type shooter. Konami has a lot of really interesting obscure games. Like I know Andrew showed me this one game called Pirates. Yeah, I love to check that out sometime. That seems pretty interesting. But yeah. Anyways, then I was talking about the Duck Hunt combined cartridge, and I played this at a convention a little while ago. Well, one in the Light Gun series. This is Hogan's Alley. I thought for a second this is Wild Gunman, but I was like, you know what? I'll take it. I got a NES Orange Zapper from a swap meet a little while ago, and I got to thinking, you know, I want to get some more stuff rather than just Duck Hunt. As cool as Duck Hunt is, and I like to use it as my you know, kind of symbolism for this channel. I don't really like killing the ducks. Although I guess it's Nintendo, they're not actually being killed. So I guess Hogan's Alley is probably a little more fitting in this sense. But yeah, so let me know what you thought of my pickups from the swap meet. If you have any memories or attachments or opinions of any of these series I showed off in here, or anything you guys picked up recently, let me know. Really put a comment down below. I guess I don't know why I'm saying like the video. I feel like too many people do that anyways. But yeah, with that being said, gonna end it off in the classic way, of course. I actually kind of feel like I have to. I'm gonna go take a shit.